Hello, everybody, and welcome on back to some Minecraft Musings. We're going to take a little side tour, or detour from Oasis, as for whatever reason, I'm having troubles connecting to my account again. And there's a number of things that could be going wrong. From an IT standpoint, this is basically what looks like a PlayStation 4 game being played on a PlayStation 5. I have multi-factor on my account, so I'm not so worried about that, but like just every now and then we have a trouble or a bit of trouble connecting to my realm. And that's fine. I forgot all the cool projects that I had going here. This is when login issues strike. So this is my offline world. This is what I was doing last night when I was going to do some Minecraft musings, and honestly, I was going to do some when login issues strikes. I just didn't have anything that I really wanted to talk about. I was just still puzzling. So, and I did a couple Fortnite videos where I talked about my projects that I'm going to be working on. Now, and I'm sure they're already in the works, and XApp is already going a long ways to do it, but basically, I want to make an application or a program that tracks legislation and tracks it in a way that the common person can understand. Now, people love Trump because he breaks things down, he dumbs things down for people to understand, and so average people can feel better about what he says. He makes sense. And he does that through years of business training and sneaky underhanded deals. Not all bad. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, we can't wear those it's not rose colored glasses. It would be like, I don't know, black colored glasses or like fire colored glasses. So not rose, but like through an angry lens. Like we got to stop looking at things through a lens because I'm still blown away by Tucker's interview, and I can't really see a lot of the comments on it, which is kind of disturbing. I need to figure out what's going on. For some reason, my X app isn't loading a lot of comments, and I was like, wait, is it because people are downvoting, doing community notes, and even the community notes on it, because I'm a part of community notes, I get to see all that stuff, which is awesome. There's no good argument against it. Like, yes, if you look at just the current Ukraine-Russia war conflict, whatever, Russia invaded Ukraine, but I have no idea what happened in 2014, and now they're saying that there was a coup, and how funny, a lot of these same people that are all up in arms about the January 6th coup, which it was a coup attempt. Don't get me, I mean, now, whether or not it deserves like the full, like it wasn't a horrible bloody thing. Like yes, I think like 4 or 5 people died, but 4 or 5 people die on their drive to work every day. Like that's not. I'm not saying that it's okay to just kill 4 or 5 people, but I'm saying for the amount of like noise that's being made about January 6th, it's I don't know. I don't know. I mean, all of the other things that are coming out of the woodwork, like Trump asking for votes. He's like, I need 10,000 votes or whatever. He's like basically saying like, like things are coming out of the woodwork where yes, he broke several laws, like trying to influence an election, trying to throw an election, and then continuing to cause mass panic and hysteria. Should almost label him a domestic terrorist, like Trump, that is, by the way. I mean, and all his followers that are continuing to push the light now a better way to go about it is to explain it to where anybody can understand because the thing is with all of these laws and I'm especially upset about the border bill that happened right now like because I heard that there was some Ukraine spending in it and I still haven't read it so that's the thing though the burden of proof falls on the average person trying to decide on this the burden of proof shouldn't fall on the average person trying to vote like the average person trying to vote should give the cleanest, most basic, so a 5-year-old could understand it. That's how you teach computer science. For those that don't know, I used to tutor a few students in computer science, one being one of my Saudi friends, and I was teaching him concepts in English, which is his second language. They were very complex. And the way I did it is I broke it down to where a 5-year-old could understand, or like a very basic, and that's almost disrespectful to 5-year-olds because kids today are already getting smarter than we were, even in my generation, because the tools are better. Like you can have all sorts of learning programs and stuff like that. Like they've got library or they've got computer lab time. I mean, and granted, I had computers when I was a kid, but I remember playing Oregon Trail on the really floppy disks, and then Math Blaster, which Math Blaster was great. Now I've seen apps that can do calculatic functions in real time and show you how changes in graphs will change the output. And it's amazing, like the stuff that they could just learn passively. Not to mention that I've already taught my own kids encryption and like encoding and stuff, and you know, like starting to go into that stuff. Like, although I'm not pushing that hard. I mean, kids need to be kids, and I'm trying to foster them having the best childhood that they can. We got VR, we got PS5, we got PS4. We also got a new basketball. We're gonna go play more basketball, and we got tennis rackets, and we're gonna do some more activities outside and fun stuff. But I mean, it's all fun. But I don't know. Back to the Putin thing. Like, so I went in watching that interview, wanting to hate Tucker and wanting to hate Putin, just wanting to, without any reason. Like, oh my gosh, these poor Ukrainians. And I have a friend from Ukraine, a colleague, and and I don't really feel right talking to him about it because it's like it's not really his favorite subject. Like his home area is under war. Like I put myself in his shoes. Like would I want to talk about America if I see I don't know. There's no real comparison. Like we're not in a I don't know. I guess it all goes back to NATO. Why we even have NATO anymore? It's just Russia. I mean, partially China, but it's mostly just Russia. And why is it Russia? Just because Putin's been the president for so long? Like, how long has Joe Biden or well, not just Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell and, Ted Cruz and all these other people, how long have they been in Congress? 20 or 30 years. Like, they've been in seats of power for way longer than they should have. Like, we should have a fresh, cycled out Congress every 4 to 6 years, just like we have the president. Like, I feel like that's fitting, you know? Like, I don't. That's where our politics have become stagnant, and that's where corruption has been able to seep in. Lobbyists. Lobbying should be banned anyway. I don't even know why we allow lobbying. It's like we have all these lawmakers making good laws and everything, but oh, you can line up and present your case, and I don't know. We should open up our government more to the public anyway. We should have like kind of like those not exactly like those shows, like the dance show, and I'm drawing a blank on the names, but any of the ones where you're able to vote with a phone anywhere in the world and like do that. But I mean, we're to the point where we could have each registered voter and then have them vote on everything. And you don't even have to make it matter in the beginning. Just be like, well, this is what America says they want. And then you got to make the laws simple to where anybody can understand them, to make it fair for anybody who's weighing in on it. And then we don't need representatives. Like we don't ride by horse and buggy anymore. We got internet where within a nanosecond, a millisecond, we can be talking to anybody in the world. Like we don't need representatives or senators anymore. Like we just don't. We could decide our own laws for our own benefit and all that, and and understand it too. That's why I love every time in Colorado here we get a blue book that explains everything. It says the for and the against, like so you can kind of feel better about voting. And there's still some times where I don't know what's going on, and I ask my friends and colleagues, be like, hey, what'd you put for answer three, like or what are you thinking on this one? And then they might give a little extra insight, and at the end of the day, if it's something I don't understand, I just don't vote on it because it's not something that I would hate for my vote to go the wrong way, you know. And I think that's a big thing too, pride. We need to be able to tell ourselves, be like, you know what? I don't know enough about this problem, so I can't really form enough of an opinion, and I don't want to risk doing something wrong, so I'm just going to sit this one out. And that happens in tech all the time. Like basically every technical problem that you come up against in IT, you got to admit, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Let's start to investigate. And then you start to draw all the facts that you can until you see what makes sense the most as the problem. Even if you're looking for I mean, you're always kind of looking for the problem because you don't want it to repeat. You don't want it to come back. So, yeah, I mean, but same with politics too. And like, ugh, it drives me nuts because like there's so much about Trump that I don't like, that I don't want running the country again. But then Biden goes and ships off billions of dollars, and not just Biden, Congress too. A lot of people in Congress want billions of dollars to go to Ukraine in the form of weapons. Like I just feel like we're just filling an order. Like Ukraine is a customer and we're merchants of death, sending off bombs and weapons, and it's not humanitarian aid. And something I saw from a Chinese government official, on the X app was like, we're sending medicine and supplies and food and stuff, while the West just, or while America just sends more bombs and more guns. And she was right. Like, if you look at what we're sending over there, we're not trying to like, I mean, we're trying to help people in the sense that like we try to help any other country where we can sell our weapons. Like, We have become what we. I mean, okay, let's take a look at Borderlands with you got Borderlands with Marcus. He's a Russian arms dealer. Like we joke about it, like oh yeah, Russia deals arms, all this, and even in Lord of War, like they they're very blunt about like the real monster is America. Like we keep churning out guns, and they even showcase that with like um where can I put this stuff? How it ended. Well, I don't want to give spoilers or anything, but the American government basically steps in, and the Lord of War is free to do his nonsense. Like, and that's how aggravating a lot of this stuff is. Let's go ahead and use this for fodder for all this stuff that we're not really using. Um, because I need some bone meal. We're gonna continue. We need coral really, because as you'll see, I got a few pieces of coral dotting the side of my. So this world, I have a very nice underwater railway. Like it goes all the way. If you look on the mini map, to the next island over, it crosses this giant channel, and this is a 4 out of 4 map, and I've only explored this much of this world. So like, there's a lot of room for. But then I like playing in the realm because that's like my main. This is my backup world when the realm isn't working. So for whatever reason, and I don't have time to sit there, do some IT troubleshooting, and I did too. I fiddled with it. I tried to log in again. I waited, and it was just glitchy. Like just yeah. So I don't know. But anyways, so back to the interview. I was combing the comments, trying to find somebody that I would, that normally would side with, I would agree with in my own echo chamber, like to provide some clarity. And all I saw was, let's see. So one guy said, this is just total lies. The history, is riddled with holes, but didn't provide any examples of what was a lie. None, not a single one. And it was like, okay. And let's be honest, when Nord Stream blew up, like at this point, I'm not even surprised anymore if it's something that America did, one of our agencies. And see, that's the thing is we have too many agencies doing things that the president either can't talk about or won't talk about, that we could be doing anything out there. And I had a lot of issues with this back during the Iraq war because how many of those, rebel groups were we arming? All I had to do was see some pictures with American weapons being used by a lot of these groups over there. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on over there? And of course, those could have been doctored and like they could have said anything, but like I saw posts where, some of the rebels had tattoos, had U.S. military tattoos, which was suggesting that we were directly fighting as rebels, like some of our operatives, some of our super secret military people, and normally that's okay to a point, but are we any better than, the German secret police or the Russian secret police or like all these things? And that's the one thing. You can't forget. In fact, let's go tour the other side. Because I want to just see what I'm working with here, but you can't forget all of the things that Russia still is doing, like imprisoning people for weed. Like homosexuality is illegal over there, I think, last time I checked. Like, certain things, yes, Russia is not without their own issues, but then again, think about it. Russia isn't as liberal as America, and maybe just human nature or the path. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think there's a bridge somewhere where I would normally run. But anyways, no, America just has been so free for so long that we've been able to explore all sorts of things and find out, hey, like this might not be the best way to do things. Let's go ahead and change this and change that. And next thing you know, we have a very interesting yet learning yet, I don't know, with our own problems too. We have a lot of problems. The war on drugs being the biggest. We also are like the number one consumers of drugs in the world. So yeah, it's not perfect. Of course, our country's only a couple hundred years old. It's like not even 300 yet. It's like 1776 was our Declaration of Independence. Here's the original mini bridge that I built, just kind of like as a concept. And this is the original area. I tried to do this outside of peaceful mode, and I had a horrible time. I think I put it in hard, but even if not, like I was in the middle of nowhere. And I think night, like I switched it off closer to night, so I didn't really get a full day of building. But either way, this was the little shack that I built that, I was getting blown up by creepers. I was just trying, yeah, this is pretty pitiful. But yeah, I just built a little shack, didn't have all the windows and stuff in it. It was just walls. I was just trying to survive, and there was just tons of mobs everywhere. Let's see. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's troubling, is what it is, because we still haven't addressed Obama's thing fully yet. Like how many bombs Obama was dropping, how many drone strikes, how many people died. Like, are we the real war criminals? I guess I should say, because just those numbers, 20,000 civilian deaths. That's a lot of innocent people. And then, how many were really innocent, how many were really jihadists, how many this and that. It's hard to say. Like if America was getting blown up and then occupied by somebody, I feel like I know a lot of people that would be out there trying to fight back and do stuff and be like, why are you here? Get out of my country. Like, what are you doing here? Oh, you got a bunch of guns? You didn't bring a bunch of peace stuff. You came over here with guns and bombs and tanks and, like who's going to be really happy about that? And we worry about like Nazi Germany taking over the world. What is America doing? What was England doing? Colonizing everything, like launching their little like colonies everywhere. I don't know. I'm not. I'm very conflicted because this country was born under colonialism, invasion basically of people that were already here and had established territories and ways of life, and they had their own ways of governing. And if you look at maps of all the different native tribes that did exist here once upon a time, and then got wiped out from disease, which, okay, let's be honest, that was going to probably happen either way. Like as the world grew, there was going to be some catalyst of people over there, but it just happens that we, the original Americans, were the ones over here. And even that, like they were kind of duped into it too. It's like, here's a bunch of money, go colonize, go make a bunch of babies and make a strong country. And oh wait, no, not that strong. And then we made a really strong country and, gained our independence from England. Just like Taiwan and Ukraine are trying to do. Except, why? Why are we doing this? Like communism, I guess, was like the big reason. Like, oh, we don't like how you govern your people. Well, I mean, China's a lot older than America. But still, I mean, maybe they just never had this opportunity to be like, you know what, they're right. Like, let's rule our government this way. And I want to say they do now. I mean, even though they're still like, but that's the thing, I don't know. And I don't know the extent of what that is. Like, you know, I mean, it doesn't even matter anymore. Is it worth fighting over? I mean, in this day and age, why do we even have weapons at all? Like that's kind of the big thing, and I feel like that's why we are the way we are, and that's why all of this is happening is because we have so much left over, and so much inertia in companies, weapons companies, to where it's like, well, if we don't do this, there's going to be a lot of people without jobs. Well, swords to plowshares. We could take all of our military, not all. I mean, it'll be a gradual change because we can't just overnight just completely demilitarize an entire country. Well, why not, too? I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. But, um, all right, well, yeah, this side's pretty boring, so I'm thinking I should just take all the resources I can find that are worth it, and then head on back. Let's see if we got any coral. I don't think we have any, like, emeralds or stuff. Got a lot of llamas. Yeah, this is pretty sad. We've got one diamond, iron. Yeah. Oh, an ender pearl. A name tag. I don't even really need a lot of this stuff because I feel like I have a lot better. Let's take the item frames, at least half. Oops. Still got a bit of a drift. And then I have another little stash area under here because... Oh, hoo, hoo. Yes, let's take all of that. You can have that. We'll take the obsidian. Was there any coral? Actually, no. Hmm. Well, anyways, it's just so the project that I wanted. Oh, okay, never mind. We do have this. I was gonna make a whole storage. Well, whatever. We can choose to do that later if we want. But I'm gonna head back over to the main area now. Oh yeah, let's go up here to our little DJ booth. Now let's close the door. Okay. Anyways, no, and it makes a good question. Like, why are we continuing to support this? And especially if that one part of the or the Tucker interview is true, if Boris Johnson told them not to negotiate, then why? Why did they tell them? Was it so we could spend more money on a war? Was it because we could get more out of the deal, like get Russia to concede more, or what? And I remember Elon came under a bunch of criticism when he said that, and he even talked to Putin, and he was just like, there's a way to win this war tomorrow, like just to end the war. And I think part of it was letting Russia keep Crimea, Donbass, and a third region. And if you just look at that without emotion, if you take emotion out of it, which you should always do when it comes to life or death situations, or same with tech issues, you take your emotion out of it because a lot of problems are caused by, are you having a bad day? Did you spam the keys out of anger because you're having a bad day? Or did you slam something down? Or, is there another reason why the tech isn't working? Because on paper, it looks like it should be working. And as long as you didn't do X, Y, and Z, it should still be working. But and you might find that it was human error, or something was broken because of emotions or something or whatever. But when you're talking about life and death, people are dying over there. They're fighting, they're shooting guns at each other, and we're just waving on like, oh, they're so brave, they're so strong, like, but we're shipping the guns over there that they're using to kill each other. Like, it's like giving a kid a bunch of bottle rockets and getting mad at them when they start shooting them at each other. Like, and we're just shipping it over there, and for what? Same with the Middle East. Like we got attacked, which is still under dispute to this day by places like South Park and a lot of people, and like, but South Park made a whole episode of how much it just didn't make sense. It was like, wait, like, I mean, yeah, a lot of people hate America because of the things that America is doing, like colonizing the world still in this day and age. And then I don't know. And I'm hoping I'm seriously wrong. That's why I'm still looking for comments like, someone to speak out and be like, actually, no, this is why Putin's evil and this is why we need to keep doing what we're doing. I'm waiting for that. I'm not seeing it. And I'm seeing, in fact, the opposite's true. I see all of these people that I normally disagree with on X app, a lot of Trump supporters, and a lot of people that I've had some pretty distasteful arguments in the past, but then I find myself agreeing with what they're saying on this particular issue, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. That doesn't seem right. So, alright, how are we doing with bone meal? Yeah, it's starting to get there. But really, we need a lot more coral, which we need, and this is what I built, just like a little makeshift shack for. That's ironic. None of them are librarians. I don't even know where the librarians are going. Are they all sleeping in here? And there's two or three that are supposed to be in here. We've got that one and that one. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like a lot of my librarians found their way up here, which is fine. I mean, I figured they might have a hard time. Yep, and we have our own enchanting center. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So even without this one, I don't think this is 16. You only need 15 close by. It has to be one unit away. And it can be 1, 2, or 3, but not lower. Like, I don't think you can go lower than that. It has to either be like one spot away on the same level, or the one level higher, or two level higher, but still within one block away. Anyways, I don't know. So the project that I want to work on is to demystify politics. That's it. Break it down, basically to blue book the politics. What we get to, what we get when we get ready to vote is a blue book here in Colorado that presents the sides. I was just talking about that. That's what we need on the national level. We need unbiased, unfiltered, And I saw another thing. Like, it was someone on CNN talking about how Tucker is a traitor for doing an interview with Putin. And you want to believe it, but then, like, and the guy that was just shaking his head like, no, and then in fact he started swearing and like he got cut off, and then CNN got cut off. But it was like this guy was like, there are people dying over there, and you're arguing about whether like this is the exact thing we need to talk about. We need to hear Russia's side to things. Why did they do this? You know, because all we're hearing is our side, and our side looks pretty bloody. I mean, and then I saw something like someone was writing on some bombs that we were sending to Israel. Like, and that sounds like a whole mess. Like, you know, and I've never seen so many of my own. Oh, yeah, it's about time to get going. Yeah, we've got like 5 minutes before I gotta get ready and go to a meeting. But anyways, I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep holding out. You know, holding out hope that someone's gonna make some sense and be like, you know what? This is why this interview was false, and this is why Ukraine, all of Ukraine needs to be. Because at this point, and I remember getting mad at that, like, all of Ukraine is Ukraine. Like, that just sounds so stupid. Like, in this day and age, who even cares? It's not going to make that much of a difference. Like, if you take over another place, like, you're going to have a more hardship than benefit from owning that piece of land. Like, you know, unless the people actually want to be part of that country, or, you know, are they going to feel like they just got invaded and taken over? And that's something else I've been hearing about those parts of Ukraine is like a lot of it is inhabited by Russian loyalists, like people who are proud to be Russian. And, you know, and once the USSR fell, that should have been it. That should have been the end of it. We should have, you know, been done with Russian fears. So that just tells me there's a little bit more fine print. Like a lot of weapons manufacturers and people were getting rich off of war and banks and financing these things and all of this. Like, and it's an $800 billion a year budget. 800 billion. Like if we even took half of that, and now I know you can't just take all of that because we have a lot of soldiers out there that are actually employed. That's their paycheck. I mean, so there's a part of it that you can't touch, at least with not shrinking down our military size. But again, if Russia was in NATO, would we even need a military? Like seriously, would we even need weapons anymore if Russia was just on the side? And that's one of the things that Putin was talking about was like the only reason we built better weapons is because America kept building better weapons. And you know, then the Cuban Missile Crisis was such a big deal. What did we just do with Ukraine? Oh, we put a bunch of weapons there. You know, like, oh, okay. I mean, you know, that's that whole like blame the other side for that which you were guilty. That's a Hitler tactic. And that's what we see Trump doing a lot of time. But wait, are we doing it too? Are we impervious to these fallacies that people are using, these shortcuts in politics, the fear mongering and all that, or are we complicit? Not only are we complicit to that, the fear mongering, we're actually putting weapons out there, and we're doing it with Ukraine too, or sorry, Israel. And that's a place that doesn't need any more weapons. They need to take their weapons taken away. I'm sorry, like, you know, because then if you just look at the casualties by the numbers, and one more thing real quick before I go. Like, heard someone talking about how Israel was taunting Gaza with that music festival that was so close to Gaza. I didn't even think about it from that side. Like, if you got, like, basically an open air prison for a bunch of people in Gaza and you're treating them like dogs and they're, like, in a kennel and they, you know, they're living in these horrible conditions, and then you have a nice, fun music festival right next to it. Oh, that sounds pretty messed up. And I hope that that's not true. I mean, I don't want to sound anti Semitic, but I'm not anti-Gazan either. Like, I don't know these people. I don't want them living in an open-air prison or like a horrible. I want everybody to be living in a nice land of milk and honey, and like we should all be doing that now, or at least like the ghettos of America. Like that should be the minimal standard for the world. Like, you know, at least have it this good, you know. And I don't know. And we're fixing that too. Our ghettos are becoming smaller and smaller because we're putting less and less people in prison for nonviolent crimes. Who'd have thunk it? You know, because we've got our own issues here. We've got death by cop because so many people are afraid to go to prison for like 20 years. Like, you know, that they'll do radical things. And then, you know, in law enforcement overall, they're not bad. They're just trying to be out there, do a very tough job, and enforce the war on drugs, unfortunately. And like have to deal with people at their ugliest because they're facing years in prison. Like, and I've seen a video clip where Biden was like supporting a quarter size amount of crack gets you 5 years in prison. I've said it many times before. That is one of my biggest criticisms about the guy. I hate him for that because it's like, okay, where's your son? Did your son go to prison? You know, like that's a total blatant hypocrisy, like moment because we've got his son on camera smoking crack, like, and then there's him. It's like at some point we just need to admit, okay, I was a little too harsh. Maybe we shouldn't be sending people to prison for this. We shouldn't be letting them do it, but help fix them. Don't cause another problem. Like don't try to put out a fire with a flamethrower, basically. Like if you're trying to stop drug addiction and hardship for somebody and spend all this time and money and effort and resources on the other end trying to help homelessness and all that, just don't take them out of their homes in the first place. Don't get them fired. Don't get them, like if you go to jail, guess what? You're probably going to get fired. Then you got to look for a new job. You got to admit that, oh, I was in jail, so that's going to bar you from a lot of good jobs. And then it's like, oh, but let's think of the homeless. Let's stop making them homeless. And then same with the arms, the adjustable rate mortgages, where, oh yeah, we're gonna do something that sounds really good on paper, and then basically steal people's houses. Like, these things that we do, we need to be able to admit, you know what, we goofed. Let's fix it. So, anyways, that's over 30 minutes. I'll see you in the next one. Ta ta, and I'll keep looking for comments and info that say anything other than that 2 hour interview with Putin. I enjoyed it. I was so happy and relieved to see a human on the other end of that interview and not just some weird Russian monster that like everybody hates. Like, I mean, he's not the greatest guy, but look at what we got going on. I mean, we're set. Anyways, ta ta for now. Hope you have a great Monday, everybody. I will see you later.